WXCO 98.9, Wausau's real news and great conversation. Here's your Daily News Roundup.
For WXCO News, I'm Isabella Nieto. A northern Wisconsin tribe is addressing growing concerns over immigration enforcement and tribal sovereignty. Maddie Schaefer reports.
The Bad River Band of Lake Superior, Chippewa held a community forum Monday night after recent reports of immigration and customs enforcement activity on the reservation. According to the Wisconsin Examiner, tribal leaders have raised alarms after reports that Native Americans were picked up or questioned by ICE during enforcement operations in the Twin Cities. Tribal chairwoman Liz Arbuckle spoke about the stress the community is facing.
It's unnerving. We've seen Native people picked up in Minneapolis. We've heard those stories. We've seen those stories. So we are unnerved. So a little extra preparedness, thoughtfulness, kindness, it won't go amiss. That's for sure.
Leaders urged members to carry tribal enrollment ID along with a photo ID. Arbuckle says that tribal IDs are free for enrolled Bad River members and can be updated if needed. Other tribes may also offer similar services. They also highlighted statewide resources such as the Native American Rights Fund, the ACLU of Wisconsin, and Legal Action Wisconsin, which can help tribal members understand their rights and create personal safety plans. State Representative Angela Stroud of the 73rd Assembly District spoke about ICE activity across the region.
It's targeting urban areas, but it's not limited to urban areas. Rural areas are also being affected. And so it's not that we know they're going to come, but we need to be prepared because it's happening throughout our region, even if it's focused on Minnesota right now.
Several tribes, including Bad River, Lakota, Oneida, and Ho-Chunk, are notifying members that agents cannot enter a home without a judicially signed warrant. Wisconsin tribes are issuing guidance on documenting encounters, accessing legal help, and creating personal safety plans.
Eau Claire officials gathered at the newly opened Downtown Transfer Center on Wednesday to celebrate Transit Equity Day. James Kelly has more.
Transit Equity Day is held on February 4th to honor the birthday of Rosa Parks, whose refusal to give up her seat on a bus to a white passenger in 1955 sparked the over-year-long Montgomery bus boycott, a crucial moment in the civil rights movement. Phil Swanhorst is the Eau Claire Transit Commission chairperson and a former Eau Claire bus driver, and shared his thoughts on the history of Transit Equity Day in Eau Claire.
And this is the 10th year since I attended a conference in Washington, D.C. to create February 4th. Why February 4th? We wanted an activist that believed in equity in transportation, and who better than Rosa Parks, and her birthday is February 4th. So 10 years ago we created that, and by we it was unions, it was management, it was Ireland, it was South Africa, it was European countries.
In its proclamation declaring February 4th as Transit Equity Day, the Eau Claire City Council highlighted the importance of public transit as an essential service for residents to access things like healthcare and employment, as well as its importance in addressing climate change. Swanhorst also shared his thoughts on what future progress could look like for public transit in Eau Claire.
Continued applicable ADA compliance. Believe it or not, we build our buses, our transfer center, our accommodations are very ADA compliant. When we drop off at some schools, some healthcare facilities, some older churches, they are not ADA compatible. So the future would be to have our community be ADA.
To honor Transit Equity Day, a local nonprofit, Jonah, covered all bus fares on Wednesday so residents could ride for free. Each bus also had a rose in the front seat to honor Rosa Parks.
Wisconsin Governor Tony Evers visited Altoona on Tuesday morning to meet with local officials and community leaders on affordability issues in the region. James Kelly takes us there.
The roundtable at the Altoona City Hall covered a wide range of topics, most notably the state of affordable housing and the increased costs for health care and child care. Following the discussion, Governor Evers said he'd like to use part of the state's budget surplus to increase funding for local governments and schools to prevent even more property tax increases.
Can the state play a role? Absolutely. We've got a bit of a surplus, and we're hoping to be able to increase funding for our municipalities and our counties and our schools so that property taxes can go down instead of up, or at least stay the same, and I think people would be in a much better place.
Eau Claire City Council President Emily Berge attended the roundtable, reiterating an increasingly common call for more shared revenue from the state. Berge says increasing property taxes is one of the few remaining tools municipalities have to address the needs of their community, like school funding or repairing potholes. Governor Evers again highlighted the state's budget surplus as a way to provide a bit more support for local governments.
It could happen tomorrow if the legislature passed it. We have $16 billion. We don't want to put that out in and have us go broke. But the fact of the matter is, we can afford looking at $1 or $2 billion worth of shared revenue, school district revenue, things like that.
Like many communities struggling to address funding needs with limited revenue sources, Chippewa Valley residents have seen massive property tax increases over recent years. Much of that increase is the result of school referendum proposals, forcing residents to choose between the property tax hike or potential layoffs and program cancellations by school districts.
I'm Isabella Nieto for WXCO News.
For Civic Media News, I'm Lisa Hale. Vice President J.D. Vance visited Wisconsin yesterday, speaking at a machining facility in Plover in Portage County as part of the post-State of the Union tour. This was his first visit to the Badger State since last August when he was in La Crosse. Republicans saw the visit as a chance to talk up manufacturing and the economy and to put a spotlight on 3rd Congressional District GOP Congressman Derek Van Orden. Democrats called the visit a political photo op. Meanwhile, the Wisconsin State Assembly has passed proposed legislation to reclassify the sandhill crane and establish a hunting season for that bird. Civic Media's James Kelly has the story.
The bill, introduced by State Representative Paul Tittle, would classify the sandhill crane as a migratory game bird. With the reclassification, the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources would need to authorize the hunt, establish hunting zones, and create a sandhill crane hunter education program. It now moves to the state Senate for consideration. Sandhill cranes have become troublesome for farmers, causing significant crop damage losses. The legislation would allow farmers to take advantage of a U.S. Fish and Wildlife program called the Wildlife Damage Abatement Fund, which can only be accessed if the wildlife causing that crop loss is authorized for hunting. For Civic Media News, I'm James Kelly.
The International Crane Foundation argues that data shows a hunting season would not significantly improve crop loss issues. The DNR is looking into setting certain bird seasons for the next 4 years. Civic Media's Maddie Schaefer reports.
The Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources is asking for public input on migratory bird hunting season frameworks for 2026 through 2030. In the past, waterfowl and other migratory bird seasons were set year by year, but with near unanimous support from conservation groups and hunters, the DNR is moving to a multi-year structure for the first time. Anyone interested in Wisconsin's migratory bird seasons can submit comments through an online form on the DNR's waterfowl hunting webpage, by email, or at one of the 4 public hearings. 3 in-person hearings are set for March 2nd, 3rd, and 5th, with a virtual option on March 4th. Comments will be accepted through March 6th. After that, a final season structure will go before the Natural Resources Board for approval. For Civic Media News, I'm Maddie Schaefer.
Wisconsin's top assembly leader, Robin Vos, is digging in his heels against a new lawsuit that claims the state school funding system is unconstitutional and overfunds the school choice program. The suit was filed Monday and argues that kids are not getting equal shots at basic learning, that special education support isn't adequate, and that $700 million in private choice programs this year defies a Supreme Court limit. Vos called the suit a meritless activist ploy to ruin the voucher program and take control away from the legislators. Lawmakers are working on legislation to regulate cryptocurrency kiosks. Civic Media's Melissa Kay reports.
Many in Wisconsin are being targeted in crypto kiosk scams.
It's not unique to Wood County. It is a statewide issue.
That's Wood County Sheriff's Chief Deputy Quentin Ellis talking with WFHR. He said the scammers use a variety of scripts.
They will call with any amount of different scenarios. One was actually people were calling saying they were me. Me from the Wood County Sheriff's Department needed you to put money in a cryptocurrency kiosk to avoid coming to jail.
Scammers use emotional manipulation to threaten their victims with arrest or jail if they don't respond immediately. They target vulnerable populations, often elderly individuals, and will pose as trusted authority figures.
It's definitely a statewide problem. It's just there hasn't been one telltale way to respond to it because of the lack of regulation of these machines.
Chief Deputy Ellis says several other states already have legislation in place to protect against this type of scam.
I'm very hopeful that this passing legislation will act as a major deterrent to these companies and keep them from allowing this type of thing to happen to our people in Wisconsin.
The bill has broad bipartisan support and would protect both consumers and operators.
Everybody except these major corporations that are based wherever else in the nation or in the world even, they're getting their money, and everybody else here in Wisconsin that's falling to these is becoming a victim.
I'm Melissa Kay, Civic Media News.
Assembly Bill 968 passed with amendments. It now goes to the Senate for consideration. As rising costs and falling prices take their toll, more and more Wisconsin farmers are turning to bankruptcy. A new report from the American Farm Bureau Federation shows farm bankruptcies jumped 46% nationwide in 2025. Wisconsin saw 16 filings in 2025 compared to just 2 in both 2023 and 2024. A Madison bankruptcy attorney tells WPR that most farmers seek help too late. And economists are saying that farmers are staying afloat by borrowing against their land. For Civic Media News, I'm Lisa Hale. For news anytime, visit our website at civicmedia.us.
Another Bucks home game tonight. Hi, I'm Mike Clemens with Sports NBA. The Milwaukee Bucks with a great spot in the regular season schedule. 9 out of their current 10 games are at home at Fiserv Forum, and tonight it's the Bucks and the third-place Knicks. Milwaukee coming off a 118-116 win over the Cavaliers. The Badgers play in Seattle 3 p.m. tomorrow afternoon against the Washington Huskies. Wisconsin looking to bounce back after losing to the Oregon Ducks Wednesday night. We're at the NFL Combine in Indianapolis, where Wisconsin Badger linebacker Mason Reichert ran a 4.7 in the 40-yard dash. I asked him about playing for the Badgers last season.
Super blessed to have an opportunity, surrounded by great coaches and teammates alike, and just really developing me or pushing me to be a better person and player throughout this last year. You know, this was my last chance to play college football, and to have the opportunity to do it at Wisconsin, it was a great year. That's Wisconsin's Mason Reiger. With sports, I'm Mike Clemens.
It is going to be mostly sunny today with a high in the mid to upper 40s this afternoon. Tonight, partly cloudy. We have a big cold front that's going to kick through. We're going to drop into the teens for an overnight low. Tomorrow, some off and on light snow and a lot colder with a high of only 21. I'm meteorologist Sean Cable.
That's your Wausau News Roundup from WXCO. Find more news anytime at WXCO.FM. Subscribe to this podcast on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you find your podcasts.